name is Yasmin. My channel is called, for all those who don't know, Rising with Three. It's called that because I'm a mother of three, a single mother at that, of three children, and I'm striving for my best self, my best version, to provide for them and for myself. I'm rising by growing a business. I'm developing myself as an individual and trying to be the best version of myself as a mom every single day. But with that, unfortunately, there are days where I feel overwhelmed and I feel depressed and I suffer from burnout. So my channel at times will be in discussion of who burnout, who deals with it, how you cope with it, and how we could possibly get through it. Today I have a guest who's also a single mom of three. She is going to be expressing her experiences with burnout. She also happens to be my dear sister, Aaliyah. So Aaliyah, welcome first, but would you mind sharing with us today some of the things that you've experienced as a single mom of three, the challenges that you might have faced, whatever you feel comfortable with sharing today?
Yes. So hello. I've been a single mom for about 3 years, maybe 4 years. It actually got a little bit easier with more structure. And I find that to be very important, especially for someone like me. I wouldn't call myself OCD, but I have a little bit of the tendencies of it. So when things are disorganized, it makes things a lot harder for me. And when I was moving into this phase of my life where I had to do it all alone, I didn't have that much support and that much money. I just had to kind of restructure things. Restructuring things helped me so much because when things were chaotic, who needed help with homework first, who needed help with, emotionally during this transition, not just for me, but for them as well. It required a lot of restructuring. So I had to make sure emotionally I was going to be stable enough to provide the stability emotionally for my children, in each one of them individually, because just because they grow up in the same household does not mean that they're all going to be the same type of people. They all have their own personality. And so I realized it was me that had to make sure I was okay first emotionally. What I definitely did was go to counseling. That was so important for me to do, because 1 minute I'd be happy, 5 seconds later I'd be crying, oh, I can't do this. Oh. And then it's okay. It's okay to have those little moments of breakdown, because you're human, and don't let anybody sit there and tell you that it's not okay, because then they're just feeding you some lies, and then it's not going to go well. It's okay. No one can sit here and tell you how long it takes to gather yourself. But what I can say is important to make sure that you are gathered, not just for yourself, but for your children and those surrounding you, co-workers included, because you don't want to end up having like a sporadic emotional breakdown while you're at work, just because you're not working on yourself by going through counseling. And so that's what I did. And I did it for like a year after I became a single mom. And then what helped me the most though was reading books, like spiritual books, getting closer with understanding how spirituality works, getting closer with God. That helped me the most. I was listening to podcasts while driving, listening to podcasts while going to work, and it just gave me the strength to just keep going. And I took myself on a little vacation, not having no money, but sometimes you got to do that. Yeah, I had no money, but I needed that little thing for myself, and I was so happy. I was just so happy. And I wasn't able to go on vacation every year like I wanted, but I got to do that very one thing that I wanted to do for once, and then go ahead.
I hate to cut in there, but you mentioned you had no money. What does that look like for you? Because everyone has a different, example or meaning of what no money looks like. Some people say they don't have money because it's just not what they are used to having. So they consider that no money. But there are some that truly have no money. They can't find the money, the 2 cents to rub together to find a trip. So what would you say as advice for those type of people?
So what it looked like for me not having any money was all of my credit cards were maxed out. At the time, my credit card limits were actually pretty high as well. And they were maxed out. I was in the process of maxing them out. At the very end, I had a little bit of money saved, but then as time went by, it's just that the cost of childcare, the cost of paying everything on your own, like rent, utilities, food, just became too expensive. And because I'm a nurse, so I didn't qualify, and I still don't qualify for a lot of the government assistance. So I didn't get qualification for food stamps, so the fridge would be empty a lot of the times. I would have to ask family if they can help me with some stuff, or I would be too shy or feel bad that I'd be taking from them, so I wouldn't ask, and the fridge would just stay empty until I could. And then I'd max out my cards more and more until I could make it back. I didn't also qualify for support when it came to discounting with like electric bills. They have something what is it called, like where they could extend. Yeah, but some places like PSEG, for example, they'll give you a program where you can pay a lesser amount. I didn't even qualify for that. After a while, like, it just became so much. But then I had to, once I had no more credit cards to max out, and I couldn't get any personal loans because my credit score had dropped, it just became that much harder. So I had to pick up more and more shifts for work and penny pinching, like I was so super frugal. I mean, I've never been a frugal person. I was really good with managing my funds, but when I mean frugal, like, everything was recyclable for me. Oh, that pickle jar? Oh, we're gonna use that as a cup, oh, things like that. So hand-me-downs was very important for me at that time. Any relative that had hand-me-downs for my children, that was not spending a dime on clothing. I was just sewing things up. It's good to know a little bit of hand sewing. So the jeans was a little ripped. Okay, we're gonna hand sew that. All right, we're gonna take those skills that we had learned back then and we're gonna utilize them today. So, but it was hard for me because I didn't want to do those things, but for some people, I would say they're grateful if they can qualify for any little bit of government assistance because it helps a lot. Now, my rent was super expensive. I didn't even qualify for rent assistance, Section 8, none of that. So my rent ate up the majority of my check besides taxes. And then after that, it was childcare. So nannies are not cheap. They are not cheap. So I had to have somebody watching my children overnight while I was working. And then when I was trying to change to daytime shifts, no one was available to watch the kids during daytime. And at that time, when I first became single, my youngest was too young to be in any type of school. So that was really hard as well. So I had to have a nanny for even longer. Sometimes the nannies wanted $30 an hour, depending on their experience. And God bless your heart for that amount that you want, but it was just not in my budget, So thankfully, I was able to find nannies that were college students and just learning and starting out that took a lower amount, and God bless their souls because I really needed it at that time. And a few of them I had were so flexible and so understanding when I couldn't pay them that week that I had promised. But I noticed as times got on, it was all about structuring. And the more I knew how to budget, the more I knew how to deal with the children's homework and how to deal with their outbreaks, it just got easier and easier. I would wake up at a certain time to make sure I would clean the house or to meal prep for take food to school, or, so every little bit of structuring helped me in the process to not have a breakdown. So to fully answer the question, after I had traveled, I maxed out my card to be able to travel. And I used those good old travel points to be able to travel, which paid for a lot of that trip too, guys. And that's a good tip for you ones that want to travel. But after that, there was no more credit card to travel. So what I had to do was just really focus on the structure to, prevent myself from burning out. And sometimes after a few months, I'll be like, oh, I just can't deal with this anymore. And then you just have to go back and talk to yourself. Those affirmations, those were a beauty as well. Positive affirmations. You're amazing. You're doing this. You've got this. You can do it. Those affirmations, you got to keep telling yourself that, because if not, it's going to be hard.
And having positive people in your corner,
positive people
encouraging you,
were also in my corner. They were far and few though, but my circle was pretty small, but small or not, they were there, and I was very grateful. So backtracking a little bit to how I even got into realizing that structuring was very important, was I was dealing with also my children lashing out on me, telling me they hated me, tantrums, severe tantrums that were not something that I was used to. I was also dealing with, I had mentioned that the cost of nannies were expensive, but they were like extremely outpricing what I had made, taking more than half of my income. I was dealing with depression more than I ever dealt with. I've never had a problem for depression, but I've experienced it, and then I've experienced it too frequently that I was like, okay, something has to change. I have to restructure things, and I have to start making changes, adding affirmations, and finding some other ways so that I can get out of this. And that's how I started realizing that, prioritizing a schedule for everything was going to be very important.
Thank you so much for being vulnerable with us all today. I do truly appreciate it, because I know that this information will eventually be something that someone feels they needed to know, a tip that they needed that could help them. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and leave some comments in the video.